I'm standing at the edge of a stage in a Seattle convention center, my voice steady as I address a sea of cybersecurity experts. The spotlight burns my skin, but I'm in my element, breaking down encryption protocols like they're poetry. My slides click forward, each one a testament to 3 years of grinding through code, coffee-fueled nights, and a relentless drive to prove I belong in this cutthroat world. I'm Olivia Harper, 28, a cybersecurity consultant who's clawed her way to this moment. Then my phone buzzes in my pocket, a sharp jolt that nearly derails my sentence. I ignore it, forcing a smile as I pivot to quantum threats. It buzzes again, and again. The room blurs, faces expectant, and I know I can't ignore it any longer. I glance at my smartwatch, expecting a client emergency or a server crash. Instead, it's a text from my mother. Eleanor Harper, the woman who's spent my life reminding me I'm second best. The words sear into me. You're not invited to your father's 60th. Don't ruin this for us. My breath catches, an audible hitch that makes the front row shift uncomfortably. I fumble through the next slide, my carefully rehearsed words dissolving into static. Colleagues I've spent years impressing, men in tailored suits, women with sharp eyes, exchange glances. I'm unraveling in front of 300 people, and I can't stop it. The text loops in my mind, each word a blade. Not invited. To my father's 60th birthday, the man who taught me to code at 7, who patched my skinned knees and slipped binary jokes into my lunchbox, the man whose dream I've spent 3 years and $75,000 0 cents turning into reality, a trip to Sicily to trace his roots. And now, my own mother, with her icy precision, has cut me out. I wrap up the presentation on autopilot, my voice a hollow echo. Applause ripples, but it's distant, like rain on a far-off roof. I step off the stage, legs unsteady, and slip into a bathroom stall before anyone can corner me with questions. My hands shake as I reread the text, hoping it's a mistake, a cruel joke. But Eleanor doesn't make mistakes. Her words are deliberate, each one crafted to wound. I press my forehead against the cool metal door, fighting the urge to scream. How did it come to this? How did my family, my own blood, decide I'm the enemy? I grew up in Seattle, in a house that looked like it belonged on a postcard. Cedar shingles, wraparound porch, views of Puget Sound glinting through evergreens. But inside, it was a battlefield. My father, Michael Harper, was my anchor, a naval engineer with a laugh that could warm a room and a knack for turning complex systems into stories I could understand. He'd sit me on his lap at his cluttered desk, showing me how to debug code or sketch a ship's blueprint. "You're unstoppable, Liv," he'd say, ruffling my hair. Those moments were my sanctuary, the only times I felt seen. My mother, Eleanor, was the opposite. A socialite who thrived on control, she curated our family like a museum exhibit, perfect, polished, untouchable. She doted on my older brother Nathan, 4 years my senior, the golden child who could do no wrong. Nathan was her mirror, charming, ambitious, a corporate lawyer by 30, with a San Francisco penthouse and a wife, Claire, who fit Eleanor's vision of flawless. I was the outlier, the girl who preferred hoodies to heels, who'd rather hack a firewall than host a charity gala. Eleanor's disappointment was a constant undercurrent, her sighs louder than any words. "Why can't you be more like Nathan?" she'd ask, her voice sharp enough to draw blood. My achievements, graduating top of my class at MIT, landing a job at a top cybersecurity firm, were met with a curt, "That's nice, dear. Did you hear Nathan just closed $1 million deal?" I tried to bridge the gap. God knows I did. I'd sit through Eleanor's endless dinner parties, smiling as she bragged about Nathan's latest triumph while my own life was reduced to a footnote. But no matter how hard I worked, I was never enough. The only place I felt whole was with Dad. He'd sneak me out for late-night drives along the coast, just the two of us, talking about everything from AI ethics to the stars over the Sound. Those nights, I believed I could do anything, He was my rock, and I was his little coder, unstoppable together. 3 years ago, everything changed. Dad had a heart attack. Minor, the doctors said, but it shook me to my core. I flew home from a conference in Boston, spending weeks at his bedside, ignoring Eleanor's pointed comments about disrupting their routine. Seeing Dad frail, hooked to monitors, made mortality real. He was 57 then, still vibrant, still climbing campus stairs as a guest lecturer. But I couldn't shake the fear of losing him. That's when I made a vow. His 60th birthday would be unforgettable. I'd give him the trip he'd dreamed of since I was a kid, a journey to Sicily, to the sun-soaked streets of Palermo where his grandfather was born. He'd talk about it over Sunday dinners, his eyes bright, spinning tales of olive groves and family records lost to time. I wanted to make it real. I threw myself into the plan like it was a mission. My job paid well, 6 figures with bonuses for high-profile contracts, so I saved aggressively, squirreling away $75,000, 0 cents over 3 years. I researched every detail: a cliffside villa in Palermo with views of the Tyrrhenian Sea, private yacht tours along the coast, a genealogical expert to trace the Harper family back to its Sicilian roots. I even tracked down the Russo family, distant cousins still living in Montreal, who sent me photos of 19th century documents mentioning our ancestor, a fisherman named Antonio. Each email, each booking felt like a gift I was wrapping for Dad. I imagined his face when he walked the streets his grandfather knew, when he held those records in his hands, when he tasted wine from vines his family might have planted. 6 months ago, I pitched the idea at a family dinner in San Francisco, where Nathan and Claire live. I drove down from Seattle, my laptop loaded with itineraries and photos. Dad's face lit up like a kid on Christmas. "Palermo? Really, Liv? You're doing this for me?" His voice cracked, and I felt a surge of pride. Nathan nodded, his lawyer's smile practiced but approving. Claire gushed about Sicilian vineyards she'd read about. Even Eleanor seemed on board, asking about dates and accommodations with her usual meticulousness. I left that night buoyant, already mapping out a 12-day adventure in my head. Looking back, I should have seen the cracks. Eleanor's smile never reached her eyes. Nathan's questions about funding had a sharp edge, but I was too caught up in Dad's joy to notice. The first warning came a month later, when Eleanor started scheduling urgent family events whenever I tried to discuss the trip. A charity luncheon here, a cousin's baby shower there, always with an apology. "Oh, Liv, I forgot you were coming to talk Sicily today. We'll catch up soon." Soon never came. Nathan stopped replying to my texts about flight options, his responses dwindling to, "Busy? We'll get back to you." Only Dad stayed enthusiastic, texting me Italian phrases he'd butchered from an app. "Ciao, come stai?" His excitement palpable even through emojis. I clung to that, convincing myself the rest was just family noise. Then the first danger hit. I'd driven back to Seattle after another tense dinner in San Francisco, the kind where Eleanor critiqued my casual outfit and Nathan monopolized the conversation with his latest courtroom victory. It was late, the highway dark and slick with rain. I was halfway home when my brakes failed. One second I was easing into a curve, the next my foot sank to the floor, the pedal useless. My heart slammed into my throat as my car skidded toward a guardrail. I downshifted, yanking the emergency brake, and somehow coasted to a stop on the shoulder, inches from a 50-foot drop. My hands trembled as I called roadside assistance, my mind racing. The mechanic later said the brake line was cut, clean and deliberate. "Not wear and tear, ma'am. Someone did this." I wanted to dismiss it as a fluke, but a cold knot in my gut told me otherwise. I had no proof, no suspects, just a creeping sense that this was no accident. Pushed forward, refusing to let fear stop me, I finalized the Sicily bookings, a private chef for a family dinner under the stars, a historical tour of Agrigento's ancient temples, a meeting with the Russos to pore over family records. My apartment became a war room, walls plastered with maps and post-its, my coffee table buried under travel guides. But the resistance grew. Eleanor's calls dripped with condescension. "Your father doesn't need a big trip, Olivia. He's not as young as he used to be." Nathan's replies when they came were curt. "Sounds expensive. Sure it's worth it." Only Dad kept me grounded, sneaking calls to ask about the villa's view or the yacht's route, his voice alive with anticipation. Then came the second blow. I got home one night to find my apartment trashed, drawers yanked open, papers scattered, my laptop gone. My heart sank as I realized my Sicily files, itineraries, contracts, Russo correspondence, were stolen. Worse, my firm called the next morning. Sensitive client data had been leaked from my device, traced to a dark web marketplace. My boss, a no-nonsense woman who'd mentored me, didn't mince words. "Fix this, Harper, or you're out. You've got 1 week." I spent 48 hours rebuilding my system, tracing the hack to a sophisticated breach that screamed professional. Someone wasn't just targeting my trip. They were coming for my career, my life. I reported it to the police, but without evidence. It was just another break-in in a city full of them. I doubled down, rebooking what I could, securing backups on an encrypted drive, but the family pressure intensified. Eleanor summoned me to their Seattle mansion, a sprawling estate that screamed old money. I arrived, expecting a discussion, maybe a compromise. Instead, I walked into an ambush. Nathan and Claire were there, along with a dozen relatives I barely saw outside holidays. The living room was a stage, Eleanor its director. She announced a surprise gala for Dad's 60th, a black tie affair at a waterfront venue, complete with catering and a string quartet. "It's what Michael deserves," she said, her eyes locked on mine. "Not some exhausting overseas stunt." Nathan chimed in, his lawyer's tone smooth. "We've planned it for everyone who matters. No offense, Liv, but Sicily's a bit selfish." Claire fidgeted, avoiding my gaze. I tried to argue, my voice shaking. "Dad's been practicing Italian for months. He wants this. I've spent years saving for it." Eleanor's smile was a razor. "You always think you know best, don't you? Always trying to outshine everyone." Then came the third danger, mid-argument. My phone buzzed with an alert. My cloud account had been accessed. My Sicily itinerary leaked to a dark web forum. A message popped up, anonymous but chilling. "Cancel Sicily or lose everything." My stomach dropped. Someone was watching, listening, hacking my life in real time. I clutched my phone, trying to focus as Eleanor's voice rose. The room fell silent when she delivered the final blow. In front of aunts, uncles, cousins, people who'd known me since I was in diapers, she said, "You're not welcome at Michael's gala, Olivia. You've always been a disappointment." Her smirk was pure venom, a look I'd seen 1,000 times but never so raw. The relatives gasped, some murmuring disapproval, but no one spoke up. Not Nathan, not Claire, not even Aunt Susan, who'd once braided my hair at family picnics. The silence was louder than Eleanor's words, confirming what I'd always feared. I was the outsider, the pariah, the daughter who didn't belong. I walked out, my vision blurring with tears I refused to let fall. In my car, I canceled everything. The villa, the yacht, the tours, the Russo's meeting. 3 years of dreams, $75,000, 0 cents of savings, gone in a 20-minute phone call. I transferred the money back to my personal account, each click a small act of defiance. Then I blocked everyone. Eleanor, Nathan, Claire, the aunts and uncles who'd stood by in complicity, everyone except Dad. His number stayed open, a lifeline I couldn't sever. I drove to my loft, the Seattle skyline a glittering lie against the night. Inside, I uncorked a bottle of Sicilian Chianti I'd saved for a pre-trip toast. The irony wasn't lost on me as I drank alone, the rich red wine bitter on my tongue. My balcony overlooked the city, 15 floors up, the hum of traffic, a distant lullaby. I sat there, phone face down, unwilling to face the notifications, or the lack of them. Had anyone noticed I'd left? Did they care? The questions gnawed at me, each one a reminder of the family I'd never quite fit into. I thought of Dad, oblivious to the war waged in his name, probably practicing Italian phrases in his study, dreaming of a Sicily he'd never see. The betrayal wasn't just Eleanor's. It was Nathan's silence, Claire's averted eyes, the relatives' cowardice. It was a family that had chosen to erase me. The doorbell jarred me from my spiral. Through the peephole, I saw Mia, my best friend since MIT, holding a paper bag that clinked with promise. "Reinforcements," she said when I opened the door, pulling out wine, chocolate, and a pint of pistachio ice cream. "Your text sounded like the apocalypse. Spill." Mia was my opposite, blonde, bubbly, a marketing whiz who could charm a room. But she'd been my rock through every crisis, from failed startups to family fights. I told her everything. The conference text, the break failure, the break-in, the hack, the gala ambush. Eleanor's smirk. By the time I finished, we were halfway through the second bottle, the loft hazy with our outrage. "That's next-level evil," Mia said, refilling my glass. "Your mom's always been cold, but this? It's like she's trying to erase you." Her words hit hard, crystallizing the truth I'd avoided. This wasn't just about a birthday or a trip. It was about Eleanor's need to control, to diminish me, to sever the one bond, me and Dad, that she could never touch. "What about your dad?" Mia asked. "Have you told him?" I shook my head, the wine loosening the knot in my chest. "I don't want to put him in the middle. If Eleanor's this ruthless, who knows what she'd do if I dragged him into it?" Mia leaned forward, her eyes fierce. "Then don't let her win. You've got the money, the time off, the research. Go to Sicily. Not for them, for you." The idea was absurd, reckless, intoxicating. A solo trip after everything I'd poured into making this Dad's dream? But as Mia talked about Taormina's beaches, about hiking trails where I could lose myself, about drinking wine at noon without anyone's judgment, something sparked. I'd spent years putting my family first, swallowing Eleanor's barbs, chasing Nathan's shadow. When was the last time I did something for me? I couldn't remember. Not the rushed work trips, not the obligatory family holidays. Maybe Mia was right. Maybe this was the universe telling me to stop waiting for approval that would never come. We grabbed my laptop, the wine making us bold. Mia pulled up boutique hotels in Taormina, their whitewashed walls and infinity pools a far cry from the family villa I'd booked. I scrolled through rugged trails near Mount Etna, imagining myself alone under a wide sky, no one to please but myself. The idea took root, tentative but alive. Then my bank app pinged, a fraud alert. My account, the one holding the $75,000, 0 cents, was frozen. Someone had tried to transfer the entire balance to an offshore account. The bank gave me 48 hours to verify my identity or lose everything. My pulse raced as I logged in. The hack's fingerprints all over it. The same signature as the laptop breach. The same shadow chasing me. I called the bank, my voice calm despite the panic. They restored access, but the message was clear. Whoever was behind this wasn't done. Mia watched me, her usual optimism dimmed. "This isn't just your mom, is it? Someone's targeting you, Liv." I nodded, the weight of it settling in. The break line, the break-in, the hacks, the dark web threat, pieces of a puzzle I couldn't yet solve. But I wasn't backing down. I booked the Taormina retreat, a single room with a private terrace, nothing like the sprawling villa. It was mine, a declaration of independence. The confirmation email felt like a lifeline, a step toward reclaiming my story. Mia left around 2 a.m., extracting a promise to keep her updated. I crawled into bed, the wine and exhaustion pulling me under. But sleep didn't come easy. Eleanor's smirk haunted me, her words a loop I couldn't escape. Why was she so determined to destroy this? Was it really just jealousy? Or was there something darker, something I hadn't seen? And who was helping her? The hacks, the threats. They were too sophisticated for Eleanor alone. Someone with skills, resources, a grudge. I drifted off, the questions unanswered, the Sicily dream reborn but shadowed by danger. Morning came too soon, sunlight slicing through my blinds. My phone was a minefield. 22 missed calls, 45 texts, 4 voicemails. Most were from Nathan, a few from Eleanor, some from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. I ignored them, not ready for their excuses or accusations. But one voicemail stopped me cold, timestamped 4:17. AIM Nathan's voice, raw and unsteady, like he'd been crying. Liv, it's me. I've messed up. We all have. Mom's been lying, to Dad, to me, to everyone. He never knew about Sicily. She told him you refused to be part of his birthday. He's devastated, thinking you don't care. Call me, please. We need to fix this. I sat on the edge of my bed, the phone cold against my ear. Nathan's words rewriting everything. Dad didn't know. All this time he thought I'd abandoned him, while I thought he'd chosen Eleanor's gala over our dream. The betrayal wasn't just Eleanor's. It was a web, intricate and cruel, designed to break us apart. My hands shook as I unblocked Nathan's number and dialed. He answered on the first ring, his voice thick with guilt. Liv, thank God. I've been up all night. I need to tell you everything. Start talking, I said, my voice steel. And don't leave anything out. Nathan's confession was a gut punch. Eleanor had intercepted my emails to Dad, deleted my texts, even forged messages to make it look like I'd dismissed the birthday entirely. To Dad, she'd painted me as too busy, too selfish, too wrapped up in my career to care. To Nathan and Claire, she'd spun a story of me hijacking the celebration, refusing their input, demanding they pay for a trip they couldn't afford. To the relatives, I was the ungrateful daughter, always causing drama. And Dad, my dad, had believed her. Not because he wanted to, but because Eleanor's lies were airtight, built on years of manipulating his trust. Well, I asked, my voice breaking, why would she do this? Nathan hesitated, the silence heavy. I think it's you and Dad. You've always had this bond, this thing she could never touch. When you planned Sicily, something she'd never think of, something that made him so happy, it broke her. She couldn't stand it, Liv. She had to destroy it. I closed my eyes, the truth settling like ash. Eleanor's jealousy wasn't new, but this was war. And it wasn't just her. The hacks, the threats, the break line, they pointed to someone else, someone with the skills to turn her resentment into a weapon. I thought of the dark web message, the frozen account, the break-in. There's more to this, Nathan, I said. Someone's coming for me, and I think Mom's not alone. What do you mean? His voice sharpened, fear creeping in. I mean, someone cut my brakes, someone hacked my life, and someone's threatening to end me if I don't drop Sicily. You tell me, does that sound like Mom's bridge club? He was silent, processing, then quietly, Liv, I'm so sorry. I should have questioned her. I should have trusted you. What do we do now? I looked out my window, the Seattle skyline sharp against the dawn. Dad was out there, hurting, believing I'd turned my back on him. Eleanor was spinning her web, and someone dangerous was pulling strings. I wasn't the girl who'd walked out of that mansion, broken and defeated. I was Olivia Harper, the girl who'd cracked codes at 7, who'd built a career in a world that tried to shut her out. I wasn't done fighting. Find Dad, I said. Tell him I'm coming. And Nathan? Don't tell Mom, not a word. I hung up, my heart pounding. Sicily was back on, but it wasn't just a trip anymore. It was a reckoning. I'd find the truth, for Dad, for me, for the family we could still salvage. But first I had to survive whoever was hunting me. The game had just begun, and I was ready to play.